Right, I'm posting this up on a live here on YouTube. Doesn't need to be a live. I just didn't want to have to edit the video and upload it and all that stuff. I just want to do an update on this mod that I saw from, well, I've seen a few people do it, but I most recently saw Blockhead on YouTube do. They're a motorcycle shop, and they actually did this modification as far as blow-by goes from your intake. Kind of repeat myself just for anybody who hasn't seen the video, but basically the blow-by that comes out of your the top of your head usually gets sucked into the intake and you reburn it, which is not good for the motor, and it just builds up carbon and stuff on the pistons. So people do all kinds of different things to alleviate that, and one of the things that Blockhead does is they came up with the idea of putting a couple of little nipples on the screws that come out of the head and then run a hose down, and then they vent it into the top of the transmission cover over on the side that actually leaks down into the motor. Now what they did is actually notch the transmission housing itself, and what I did is I actually cut out the gasket to create pretty much the same gap as what they have, but without having to modify the actual housing itself. Because if you do that, there's no turning back. I mean, you're going to have to fill that aluminum back in or whatever if you change your mind. So I didn't like that, but I wanted to try the whole concept of how that was working out. And looks like we got one watcher in here. 1 second so I can say hi to whoever's in here. I'm not sure how to do that. How do we do this? Comments? No. How do I see who's in here? Let me turn it this way. Rotation blocked. I don't know. Well, whoever's here, thanks for stopping in. This is a motorcycle thing. If you're not interested in it, don't blame you. You know where the door is. So anyways, yeah, so I did the cover. I just went on my first ride today. I actually just put a set of Vance & Hines Eliminator 400 pipes. I did the Vance & Hines FP3 Fuel Pack 3 tuner, and I got the Screaming Eagle air filter set up with the nice little fold in it that everybody seems to complain about because the cover tightens it down a little bit too much. But so I went on my first ride. I'm not doing an auto tune session yet. I'm just doing the can tune that they give you for these modifications. So I went on a first ride. I think I went out for about probably 35-40 minutes of riding, and just in that time I noticed, actually after only 20 minutes, I noticed, as you can see, there's a pool of oil that came out of the vent tube there. So I don't know if it's just got like a swirling, splattering effect in coming out of this vent, or if it's actually filled up that center. No, I guess it couldn't. You know what? What I'm going to try, anybody who watched the other video, the gasket that I modified, I popped a couple of holes in it to allow the oil to go down. What I'm wondering is if the oil that's coming in from the top is just hitting that gasket and not really allowing it to go down quick enough, so it's just kind of like collecting on that gasket, and then just the airflow might be shooting it out. So I'm going to take this gasket back off, and I'm actually going to cut out all the rest of that section that I popped out with holes, so there's nothing to catch the oil that comes in. And then I'm going to try it again before I debunk this. But from what I'm seeing, pretty much the mod that I did is the same thing as they did. It really didn't change, and you know, I'm interested. Now, if I open this up and that center cavity is full of oil and that's why it's dripping out, there's no doubt in my mind that this isn't going to work. So before people make that mistake and cut their, transmission, whoever saw that video that I referenced, you might want to hold off and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this cover off, cut that gasket out, open it up, and see if I get the same results, because this is unacceptable, obviously. I do like old school Harleys, but not to the point where we have to go back to the oil leaking days. So But I figured there might be a couple little droplets, but this is actually a good amount. I would say, trying to give you a good look, I would say probably close to maybe a teaspoon of oil came out, maybe even a tablespoon in the 45 minutes that I rode. I noticed a couple little drips on the ground after the first 20 minutes when I stopped and parked. So, all right, I'll do an update video to this one and see if cutting that gasket out makes a difference and stops that effect. If not, I would definitely not recommend what Blockhead is mentioning as far as venting into that cover without having some other modification to it. I know there's could be check valves involved and other stuff, but the way they show it on their video, I'm interested. I would like to see an update on their video as if they actually took it for a ride afterwards and if they got the same thing or not. Because literally everything else is exactly the same. I got everything vented right into that cover, just like they did. And if you watch the other video, you'll see how I did it. So, but yeah, that's the update on that. I just wanted to let everybody know before anybody actually did it and then regretted doing it. So, although the only damage involved so far is just the gasket. So, but I'll give you an update video on this in the future. All right. Now I got to figure out how to end this live. There we go. Have a good one.